Hey guys, welcome to our channel. So we've been decoding the Big Lebowski, and I took it a step farther uh, because I really like the Big Lebowski, and I don't know that I appreciate the fact
Mm.
that they say carpet now instead of rug in that place in the movie. We've been through it, and we took UGCAPET out of it, and those of you who are following along will know what we're doing, and um, out of this, out of rug to carpet, crossed off the R's, and you got UGCAPET, and we brought that down. Then we made numerological. We got it to go forwards and backwards in by the letters themselves in stock market, and we found CGU research centers, and they study the stock market. We got it to go forwards and backwards in genetics, and CGU Research Center studies genetics. That's Claremont Graduate University. And they also have a department of technology, and we got this thing to go forwards and backwards in chemicals, but there wasn't much there. Pretty targeted to technology and uh, biology stuff like meds and stuff. So, um, and we got it to go forwards and backwards in technology, and we got random hits, and we even got uh, translations out of it. Good luck with that, right?
Yeah, I'll be trying to knock that down sometime when I have some time.
Right. And so then we took numerological numbers out of it, and I went ahead. I only did one run in that in the finance before something told me to uh, run binary code, zeros and ones,
Which we've talked about
which,
before, me and
right.
him, but we didn't really research it and have time for it. And actually, he ended up getting it, and yeah, not sure how well I like it.
Right, and there's a thing behind this. So that was it. You started with zero and A, and B with one, and then went back to C to 0, D to 1, E, F, and so on and so forth through the whole alphabet to where our extraction numbers became four zeros, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. That's what you had. Now, we already did a video running this in finance, all right, and we found some interesting stuff. Um, some time ago, my fiance hypothesized that all the genetic hits, the chemical hits, and at the time, some time ago, before we started doing categories, we were getting a lot of AI hits, and she had hypothesized that the genetics, chemicals, and AI stuff were somehow intertwined, and they were trying to better their artificial intelligence and make them more like humans and such. And we could loosely connect that, but we had no hard connection. Well, maybe that was because it was buried in layers of code, and we found a connection to this in the binary code. And when I ran the genetic, we came up with several things, guys. Um, I mean, pages of this stuff that's relevant. Quantitative genetics of disgust sensitivity, the MISO sequence,
Ontology.
ontology browser, transposable element, molecular genetics laboratory mutation database,
Yeah.
minimum infinite information about a biosynthetics gene cluster, which we'll read you a little bit about that. Human metabolome database, which keep that in mind for the next decode because I found that again when I ran another category, which was interesting. Um, but then we got to the place, like it was still on the first page, you guys, genetic programming. And she said, "What's genetic programming?" Well, she looked it up herself, and it ties right into what she said. So I'm going to let her take it from here because it's evidence for her hypothesis.
Yeah, so this started kind of a while ago, actually. It was a conversation between me and him, and we had just gotten a lot of these protein coding genes. I mean, just tons of different types of genes. And so we were having a conversation, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, why would they be hitting all these genes, you know? And AIs and how does this all tie in together? And I'm going, well, what if they're trying to intertwine genes and AI to try to make them more real? You know, because I do know that they were experimenting with that a long time ago, and I didn't even know if that was possible or not. It was just a theory, you know, to throw out why, you know, they might be targeting it. Trying to make sense of it, but that's kind of where it ended. And I get home from work yesterday, and he's, you know, I saw the video that he had made, and we were talking about this, and he was showing me what he came up with, and uh, the words genetic programming came up, and I'm going, wait a second, what does that even mean? And I'm going, oh, I'm gonna look this up and let's read all about what genetic programming means, you know. So I did, and not on Wikipedia, but I was reading through, like he was just explaining on some of these pages. And I went to, what was it, science something. Anyways, you guys will provide the link, but I came up with this and started reading about it, and I was reading to him, and all of a sudden my heart sunk into my stomach because genetic programming is a model of programming which uses the ideas and some of the terminology of biological engineering to handle a complex problem. Of a number of possible programs, usually small program functions within a larger application, the most effective programs survive and compete or crossbreed with other programs to continually approach closer to the needed solution. Genetic programming is an approach that seems most appropriate with problems in which there are a large number of fluctuating variables, such as those related to artificial intelligence. The genetic programming model is mostly used with the LISP and scheme programming languages. However, it can also be used with C and other programming languages. And it goes on to talk about genetic programming and the genetic algorithm, which is a model for testing and selecting the best choice among a set of results, each represented by a string. Genetic programming goes a step farther and makes the program or function the unit that is tested. Two approaches are used to select a successful program: crossbreeding, the tournament or competition approach. A difficult part of using genetic programming is determining the fitness function to the degree to which a program is helping to arrive the desired goal. A simple example of a task suited for genetic programming would be devising a program to fire a gun. The distance by which the bullet misses its target would determine the fitness function. And I mean, there's a whole bunch of this stuff. It says genetic programming is a challenging new approach that requires a considerable learning investment for the programmer. Um, but yeah, the thing for me was, you know, is where it said genetic engineering, and it's to handle complex problems of a number of possible programs. The most effective programs survive to compete across breed with the programs to continually approach closer to the needed solution. Um, Involving AIs, artificial intelligence, the genetic programming model is used with the LSIP and scheme programming languages. So we'll provide links. I mean, there's pages, a whole bunch of pages on this. We read quite a bit about it. You guys, we'll provide the links so that you guys can read about it. But let me tell you something. I definitely would have rather him proved me wrong on this, because that's a scary thing. Like, we're talking about real life Terminator status. We're talking about RoboCop, and like this really existing, you guys. If the wrong people get a hold of this, like this could be scary. I mean, bionic. Ugh, yeah, it's. I mean, don't get me wrong. It could be awesome. Like that could be awesome, in a way. But as we all know, there's definitely people out there that could get a hold of this in the wrong hands, and that's a scary thing because, yeah, it just. You know, when you're mixing robot and human, you know, just like anything that could be abused could turn on you, and to anybody else for that matter. Like that could be a scary thing. So
Mm,
Yeah, we're definitely going to do
it
some more research and look some more into this, but
it could be, and that's one thread that we found there with it.
mhm.
And to another thread, um, what a combination of genetics and technology, which the Claremont University or the Claremont Graduate University uh, researches both.
Right.
And what a combo, right? So
Right, and we've came up with what was it, H? When we were doing the letters and breaking them down, I believe it was H. Turned out to be the teenage engineering, which had to do with AI
AI,
and
there,
stuff like that. Like,
yeah, there were several AI hits, and
yeah,
H was one that kept coming up.
uh-huh.
But
And I believe that's around the time when this conversation happened, and I'm going, ugh, like, I wonder if they're trying to cross these two. Like, can you do that? And actually, I believe I just asked his cousin about that when we saw him this last weekend, if that was possible. And I don't remember his answer.
um, yeah,
I want to lean towards him saying that it wasn't really possible, but you guys, this says different. Or maybe it was possible, but very, very difficult, or,
I think he said something about it being a really difficult thing,
yeah,
and then you'd have to ask yourself why.
right. Yeah,
And then, so,
yeah,
um, the same way you'd have to ask yourself why they change all the discs, everybody's discs. That'd
right.
be a little bit of a painstaking process. Could it be done? Yeah. Um, that's another thing that we found out last weekend that they could, in fact, rewrite discs from, you know, satellites or whatever if they wanted to.
Hmm.
And it'd be a thing that it probably wouldn't be an easy thing.
Right.
Like it would be a hard thing. The infrastructure apparently would be in place to do so, but it would still be very difficult.
And if you
And
go back to our probability wave, I mean, this kind of fits into that too. Is it possible? Absolutely. Is it probable? Nah.
eh, I don't know how probable it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's possible, but I mean, we're leaning more towards the quantum computer being the culprit for a lot of these changes.
yeah.
And I want to make,
Or
I definitely want to make something clear, you guys. We don't think that this is evil. We don't think this is happening. We don't think the devil is doing this. Now everybody's entitled to their opinion, and you guys, I respect what you think. I do. I just, in my opinion and in my logic, and probably his as well, I really don't think the devil would be real worried about changing songs, you guys. Mona Lisa smiling, I don't think he's worried about misspelling Fruit Loops. Like, if the devil does exist, which is possible, in my opinion, not very probable. That doesn't mean that it's not possible in a different reality or this one. We won't get into that right now. But if he was real, I don't see him being real worried about Mona Lisa having a smile or, songs changing. I don't.
well,
So,
or the dude's rugby in a carpet for a minute. I don't
yeah,
know.
I
That would
don't
be
think
high on his
Satan be
list
real
of
worried.
stuff to worry
Yeah, I
about.
don't think
Um,
Satan's worried about the carpet and rugs and
I mean,
yeah, I just don't see that as happening.
right. There's been some comments,
Mhm,
and there's been some actually, yeah, there's been people posting videos
mhm,
about this subject, and yeah, no, not even, and even the people running the quantum computers aren't demons.
yeah,
They're not demons. They're
mhm,
people.
mhm,
All right, that's what they are. Hell, they probably don't even know that they're leaving a code in reality, or if they do, they probably think it's highly insignificant.
right.
Kind of like most of the population, right?
Yeah, or they might not even think, especially if it's been being calculated from a different reality. We were talking about this as well. It's definitely possible and very probable when you look at the numbers, infinite number of realities and an infinite number of possibilities, then you got a real good probability that a reality not very far from ours, as a matter of fact, is farther in technology, and quantum computers in that reality are like laptops to ours, that's definitely not far-fetched, and probably will be the same here within a matter of 20, 30 years is what they're talking about. And
Right.
so if somebody is calculating stuff in that reality, it might not even cross their mind that they're leaving a code in our reality, or changing, leaving changes in the wave that it causes. If you have an understanding of quantum computers and what they're capable of and what happens in the process. So the devil does, we don't have evidence for the devil changing songs, but we have evidence of how these quantum computers work and what they do in the wake of their calculations, and we have evidence for that. We don't have evidence of Satan changing songs, you guys, so we're going to keep going the way we're going. And
Right.
so that kind of clears up the evil and devil comments. Now, can people have evil intents? Absolutely. By some people's definition of good and evil, because that's how they differentiate between, the two. Good and evil is kind of a concept that our brains grasp as far as to, differentiate the two. Now, intent would be what would be behind that. Now, straight evil or the devil doing it is very unlikely, but our evidence points towards these quantum computers left and right. And there comes a point where things are way too coincidental to be coincidence. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. So hopefully, here in the future, we'll be able to provide some more answers for you guys. Yeah, as far as why things are changing, and maybe we'll even get some answers of the actual shifts and how they're happening and why. Um, as far as like my theory is maybe that's why a song will change and a word will almost fall off, but not completely. Maybe that was an actual shift, but we'll be trying to study up and further on that theory as well too, along with what we're doing now.
Right. And we're gonna run these binary codes because there's a lot of interesting info. I mean, this is some buried stuff.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I could have started with the binary code,
Hmm.
and then it wouldn't have been as deeply buried. Either way,
Hmm.
it,
And quantum computers, actually, that is ones and zeros would probably be what their series of numbers would be, because everything, even people, are numbered. Everything has a number.
right.
So,
And I could do it with sevens and nines as well,
hmm,
according to my cousin.
yeah.
I could run sevens and nines and
Hmm.
probably do the same. And it would be, and that might be another buried layer of this code. Is the problem? How many layers is there? I don't know, but I can tell you. I mean, even no matter how you look at it, as soon as you take these two numbers, you're in another layer. It's buried now. Like this was pretty buried. This was just a simple change. As soon as you brought these down, that's a layer of code. It was buried. But you're really digging as soon as you get to the numbers, and either way, you take the binary code and the numerological code. You're really it's no matter which you did first, it's buried, because
Yeah,
that's and that's not even, and we're still not getting it all.
it's
So
complex stuff. It's
it's
definitely complex.
right. So, oh, and before we forget, this did go backwards, but it wasn't as interesting again. And I can't break this stuff up, guys. I got to run it as the series of zeros and ones, and I'm going to go back and do it on the others as well. And I'll have to do the same thing. I'll have to run it as the series.
It,
But it does come backwards. Genetic heredity of motor neuropathies, uh,
neuropathy.
genetics and ethics and global perspective,
Hmm.
gene structure two, gene quantification,
And
neuro.
quantification, we looked that up, and that the definition of quantification is not have to do with quantum computers. It's the definition between quantity rather than quality. So,
Right. But behavioral genetics of of the mouse, behavioral genetics of the mouse, volume two, genetics human agency, And it goes on for pages. Now, in the first page was a biosynthesis thing, and we wanted to just like because we weren't sure what biosynthesis was. I had an idea, but I was wrong. Biosynthesis is the creation of an organic compound in a living organism, as referred to it in a living organism. The creation of an organic compound in a living organism is referred to as biosynthesis. So, biosynthesis refers to the production of a complex chemical compound from simpler precursors in living organism. So, in a living organism. So, and I'll provide those links as well as the search links. I've got geneticprogramming.com. She had something else. But you can go through here and read all about genetic programming. There's links, types of genetic programming include. You can go read about all the different types here. So, yeah, that's the, and it did again. These binary codes aren't going backwards and coming up with quite as much information as forwards, or relevant information anyway. So that's going to be it for this one, unless you had anything else you needed to.
Nope. I just want to say thanks to our viewers for participating, your guys' comments and feedback and stuff like that. We really appreciate and love hearing what you guys have to say. We do. Kirk J, Megan, you guys have been awesome with the participating and everything. I just wanted to send a special shout out to you both. You guys are awesome. We really appreciate and love hearing what you guys have to say, as well as all of our other viewers. And thank you guys very, very much for everything that you guys help us with, directions you point us in. It's all been really, really awesome, and we appreciate you guys a lot.
Right. This movie stuff I never would have dreamed to do until Megan asked me to do Star Wars.
Yep.
And, even with the missing information, you get a lot of information. And that's what inspired me to do the Big Lebowski, even though I'm missing the car alarm and probably various other things because I haven't watched the movie for a year or so.
Right.
Who knows what else is different now. But just with this little piece of information, we were able to pull a lot of information.
Right.
And in fact, I'm fairly certain we have our quantum computer user. This is tying right back to him.
Yeah, and we got Phoenix and Jesse. Like, thank you guys for sticking with us. You guys have been with us for a while. I mean, to all you guys, we really appreciate it and hope to provide you guys with some answers here in the future. Like, we're really looking forward to all the information that we come up with and this Mandela Effect community, this stuff is kind of crazy. So it's interesting stuff, and thanks for following along with us, and yeah, just being here along the way on our journey to try to find the answers that we're all looking for.
Right. And yeah, guys, we really do appreciate it. Otherwise, we might as well just look it up ourselves, and then not bother spending 2 straight days, uploading a video.
Right, and it's important. It's almost having to relearn everything.
It is. Yeah. Most of this stuff I didn't know existed, and she didn't know existed either, but now I do, and we do.
Right. Knowledge is power. I can't say that enough.
And so do you guys that are following along. Now you guys know this stuff exists.
Yep.
I mean, even if we think it's a coincidence, somebody thinks it's a coincidence. What a coincidence, right? And they pile and pile and pile and pile.
Yeah. Too coincidental to be coincidence.
And the more the coincidences pile up, the more we learn about stuff we didn't know.
Right.
I don't know. We don't think it's a coincidence, but some people do. Yeah. And I can't help but just say, okay, sure, it can be argued coincidence. But then we're just, the coincidence pile. The coincidence pile is pretty big over there in the corner, and
like I said before, if this is all a coincidence, I quit. I'm done.
Yeah, there'd be no point to trying to figure much
out anything for that matter. If something like this could be that much of a coincidence, there's no point in trying to figure out anything for that matter.
Right. Right. because everything is just going to be a
Yeah,
coincidence
one
at
big
that point.
coincidence.
So,
You'll never be able to figure
um,
out anything.
right. So, anyway, guys,
Yep.
yeah, thanks for all your thumbs up, thumbs down. Thanks for all your comments, leads, feedback, and subscriptions.
Yep.
And thanks a lot for watching, guys. Sorry we ran it long. And but to those who watch, thanks a lot. And for now, you guys have a great rest of your day and more. I'll get into the rest of this in the coming days and try to get round up the wrap up the Big Lebowski and who we think is using the quantum computer that changed this particular movie.
And I'm still working 6 days a week, so it's been he's been doing most of it here.
Right.
So
So, all right, guys. Thanks for watching, and for now, you guys have a great rest of your day.
yeah.